Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, like you guys have read in the title already, I am going to be talking to you guys about my experience with anxiety. I have been experiencing anxiety for quite a while now, since I was very young. I believe I was like 5 or 6 years old. So let's get right into this video. So a little bit of a history on my anxiety. Like I said, I was very young when I first experienced anxiety, or at least the first time I do remember. As a young child, I didn't know how to express or explain exactly what I was feeling, so it was so difficult for me to really tell my parents what I was feeling, what I was experiencing. They didn't know what anxiety was at the time as well, so we were just completely lost. My mom was like, what's wrong with this child? She decided to take me to all these different appointments, counseling, all kinds of stuff, and to see if they can figure out what was going on with me, but they couldn't. So I remember a specific night, when I was young, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was just crying, and then my parents came into my room and they were like, what's wrong? Why are you crying? And I was experiencing anxiety, but I didn't know how to explain it to them. So of course they were like, okay, just try to explain what you're feeling. And there I am trying to explain what I'm feeling, but didn't make sense. Basically, I just said, I just feel an ugly feeling in my heart and I can't control it. I just feel super bad. The doctor actually back then wanted to diagnose me with depression, and of course my mom was like, she's not depressed, she's fine. It's just during that time when she feels bad, she just feels terrible. And my mom said no, I wasn't gonna take any medication for depression, which I'm super glad that she decided to do that, because if not, I would have been taking a medication that I didn't need, and of course it would have been for life. So a little disclosure, I am gonna share some tips, and I hope that these help you guys, at least one out of all of them. I do have my notes down here, so if you see me looking down, that's why. But a quick disclosure, I'm not saying any of these are all gonna help you, but everybody's different, but I hope at least one does. So tip number 1 is breathing. Breathing is super important when you are experiencing an anxiety attack. I think that was my number 1 issue, to be honest. I was breathing super fast. I was uncontrollable. I was like just terrible, and I do feel that when I began to control my breathing, I was able to control myself a little bit better. And actually the breathing came in barely recently, now that I got married, and that was because my husband was the one who was like, you need to control your breathing. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, think about something that makes you really happy. It can be anything as simple as the smell of paint. Maybe you really like the smell of paint. I'm just kidding. No, think of something that makes you super happy. It can be something like an accomplishment. You got an A in your English class. You just passed your driving test. I don't know. It can be something very simple. It doesn't have to be anything like huge, as long as it's something that makes you super happy. For me, it was just the fact that I'm a mom and I have 3 beautiful children, and just feeling just completely blessed, because I'm like, okay, I feel this way, but you know what? I am so happy because I have my kids, I have my husband, and that itself made me super happy. Tip number 3 is exercising. I think that exercising, just for me at least, in my experience, it just drained me to where I was like exhausted at night. I would sleep through the entire night. And then also it just made me feel a lot more not energized, but like a lot better. Just, And then also there's like a scientific thing behind working out with anxiety. Like it helps you because, I don't know, something about your hormones, I don't know. And tip number 4 is to have a great support system. So it can be your husband, your parents, your brother, your sister, your friend. And this can be basically just them giving you a hug when you're having, you know, those moments when you don't feel good. Or also just them telling you, I don't understand what you feel, but you're gonna be okay. Because to be honest, my husband at the beginning, it was very difficult because I feel like he tried to help me, but he didn't know how to. So his way of helping me was like, okay, you just need to relax, you need to breathe normal, and you're gonna be fine. And you know, obviously he said it nicer, but that was his way of trying to be positive. And yes, he is trying to be positive, but in my perspective, that didn't feel like he was being helpful. So I told him how to be helpful towards me. So I did tell him, like, you need to hug me when I'm feeling anxiety, because to me, I just feel like I need a hug. I feel like I need somebody to hold me and just tell me it's gonna be okay, like, you know, it's gonna go away. So yeah, I do feel that, you know, communicating that with your husband, your girlfriend, your mom, your dad, it helps a lot, because then they know how you work, they know how to make you feel better. Tip number 5, occupy yourself when you know you're about to have an anxiety attack. So this is a very, very big one, because personally I kind of feel when I'm gonna get an anxiety attack, and before I get it, I start occupying myself. So I'll go on YouTube and just start watching videos, or just, it can be anything. Tip number 6 is prayer. So if you are a person that would pray, or, you know, would consider prayer, I really suggest you praying. If you're like me, and, you know, during just that time, I personally have like a knot in my mind, and I can't even think. Like, I just feel just so bad that I just want to like roll myself in a ball in a corner. Like, that's just how bad I feel. And I personally asked my husband to pray for me, because I can't even, like, I mean, I can pray, but then I'll start overthinking, like, oh, did I pray this correctly? I know, it's dumb, but that's just how it is with me. I do want to mention though, seek help, seek support. I know that it may feel like you don't want other people involved in your life. You don't want other people involved in anything that has to be very personal like that. At least that's how I was in the beginning. But I feel like once you realize that that's the only way that you're gonna get better, you're gonna feel better, then you're just like, you know what, it's fine. I don't care if I have to talk to my doctor about this, but I just want to get help. So you should never feel alone, and just look at it as you are doing a benefit to yourself, because you don't want to feel anxiety all the time. You don't want to feel, you know, this terrible feeling all the time. You want to feel your best for your kids, for your family, for your husband, just in general. You want to feel like a functioning person. So obviously, do what you have to do, you know. And in regards to medication, I do recommend you to obviously speak to your doctor and see what they recommend, but don't let it be your first option. You know, I think you should definitely explore different options, whether it's exercise or, you know, either of these tips, just so that you know, okay, you know, I tried everything that I possibly could to help with my anxiety, and it's still here, it's still bad, and I can't deal with it. Then obviously, you know, if you need medication, then definitely take medication. To a doctor's appointment, it was just like a general checkup, and I mentioned to him about my anxiety attacks. I told him that I would get them quite often, and I didn't know what to do. I tried to just deal with it, and then deal with it again when it came back, but I was tired of it. So he told me that he definitely does not want to just throw me on medication, because once you're on medication, you're most likely going to be on it forever. Medication does have side effects. As a mom, I feel like, you know, not that you can't take medication as a mom for anxiety or anything, all those side effects can just affect you. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.